Now these 5 men sitting at South Georgia Island, when they arrived, they were tired, they were beaten, they were cold, they were hungry, but they knew they had that one task left to get across to the other side of the island. They rested a couple of days, and then 3 of them, Shackleton and 2 others, left at 3 o'clock in the morning for their final journey to Lee Harbor. They carried with them 6 meals, a pair of binoculars, 50 feet of rope, an axe that they were going to use as an ice pick, and a small box of matches. That's it. That's what they had. They set off, and they went up one mountain range to the top of the 10,000-foot mountain range, only to find that there was no way down the other side. They came all the way back. They went to the next mountain range, went to the top of that, looked over, found there was no way back. They came down, they retreated one more time. They went up to the 3rd mountain range, and this was the last shot. If they were going to make it or not, they had to find a way to cross this mountain range. They got to the top of the mountain, and they slid all the way down. They tied each other up, and it went down like a big toboggan. At the bottom of the mountain they had now crossed, they were working on close to 30 hours of hiking, climbing, walking, and sliding. They were exhausted. One time during the night, they stopped for a break to get something to eat, and Shackleton found his 2 men, his 2 colleagues, asleep. He let them sleep for 5 minutes, woke them up, and told them it was 30 minutes that they had been sleeping. He was hoping to change their psyche and keep them motivated. As they kept on walking, they finally heard the whaler horn for early morning start of the whaler day, and they knew that they were getting close to Lee Harbor. Within about a mile, they had one final thing that they had to do. They found that they had to cross an icy river. Well, there was one thing left to do: shed their clothes, wade through the water, the icy water, except they had one final thing. They had to jump over a 25, 40-foot waterfall, basically ceiling to floor here. They finally made it to Lee Harbor, got themselves some new clothes, showered up, warmed up a bit. Within 2.5 hours, Shackleton was back on another boat, sailing to the other side of South Georgia Island to pick up the 2 men that he left behind. 3 days later, he had hired another boat, another ship, and now he set sail for those 800 miles that he had crossed with those 4 other men to Elephant's Island. You see, he made a commitment. He said, I'm going to make sure every one of those people make it home. He sailed for 3.5 months to get back to Elephant's Island, which took him 16 days previously to get there. The problem was now that he was sailing in the middle of the winter in the South Pacific. And as Mark Butherson can tell you, it is not an easy journey down there. He finally made it. He finally got to the point where he was close enough to get his men. He brought them all on board and counted them off, 1 through 22, all of them safe, all of them alive, all of them happy to be reunited. Now, Shackleton did not have an easy task. He had made a commitment, and he said, no matter what, I'm going to make sure we get through this whole thing and fulfill as best that I can. And Shackleton did. There is a point where you have to make a commitment, and you have to make a commitment to each other, to yourself. You have to make a commitment to the company, the people you work with. You have to make a commitment to Dow Jones, EMG, CTS, and say, yeah, we're in it. You have to look at it from a solution point of view. Think about Shackleton. Shackleton had a rope, 50 feet of rope, an ice pick, that's about it. He had basically destination products, right? This is basically all he had, right? And he's got to sit there and say, what services can I add around this content and a little technology? I got to form a solution. In and of itself, the box of matches was valuable as a box of matches. The rope was valuable as a rope. But when you start putting these pieces together, he formed a solution. And the solution was to get his men home alive. He had to fulfill a commitment. Not an easy thing for him to do. It was difficult. There was one point, though, and it's interesting, we talked about commitment up here. We talked about the importance of having fun. There was one point in the journey where, as they abandoned ship, they said, all right, we have to shed all those things that are going to hold us back. They're going to slow us down. We've got to lighten our load. And they did. They got rid of books. They got rid of all sorts of things. And there was one gentleman on the ship who played a banjo. And he told them, but you carry the banjo. He knew he had to have fun. It may not be easy, but you got to keep playing. You got to keep having fun. What you need to do now is very much what, like Shackleton and the rest of the team, the rest of his organization, is shed those things that you don't need. Dump them here at the Hyatt. Leave them behind. I can just imagine what the garbage cans are going to look like. Right? All the materials you got here at the show, you got to make sure you keep with you. But what are those things that are holding you back? What are those things that are slowing you down from fulfilling your commitment time and time again? They're out there, get rid of them. You know, when you think about it, there was a lot of commitments made from all of you, from the different business units, et cetera. But there's one commitment that you haven't heard. You haven't heard my commitment, right? My commitment is that I'm going to be there every day, through thick and thin, regardless of the size of the issue. My job is to remove your obstacles. Some of you may sit back and look at this and say, geez, this is a big group. 500 people, Dow Jones, big company, where's the entrepreneurial stuff? It doesn't matter the size of the company that you work for. It doesn't matter the situation that you're in. You matter. Each and every one of you matter, and you matter to me. I'm here, and I know I'm here for a purpose, and my purpose is all of you. I may not get your names right, as you heard last night. I know I messed up some of your names, and I apologize for that. But it's you, every one of you, one person after another. You matter. You matter to me. You matter to CTS. You matter to EMG. You matter to Dow Jones. We can't do it without you. So if you need pencils, as you've heard me say before, if you need pencils, you run out of pencils, tell me. I'll run down to the store, buy some pencils, I'll mail them to you. No matter the situation, no matter the size of the obstacle or the scenario, I'm here for you. I've got your back. Day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. Travel safely, and thank you.